Hi everybody, this is Dee at Aloha Astro, and today we're looking at a new moon in Sagittarius on November 23rd, 2022, and that new moon is occurring at 1 degree 38 minutes, and the time of it will be 5:57 p.m. Eastern Time. So let's take a look at the forecast and see what we've got going on. New moon in Sagittarius, Wednesday, November 23rd, should lift your spirits, broaden your horizons, and make a believer out of you, as the moon engages favorably with Pluto in Capricorn and Jupiter conjunct Neptune in Pisces. Which direction you aim for in terms of dreams, or where you wish to travel or relocate, what you want to learn or share, and what spiritual principles you decide to follow is up to you. Sagittarius rules the ninth house of foreign travel, higher education, writing, publishing, teaching, and moral or religious principles, and Jupiter is its ruling planet. Wisdom is gained through the gathering and sharing of information and experience. Seeking meaning in life, finding commonality between people of all cultures, countries, and spiritual beliefs, and sharing the stories of the past as well as the progressive visions of the future are some themes being activated now. You want to explore and learn, sharing whatever is interesting or enjoyable with others. Once boredom sets in or something else beckons, it is time to move on. Do what makes you happy is a Sag motto. Sagittarius, like its opposing sign Gemini, doesn't know what it wants to be when it grows up, and like Peter Pan, avoids the shackles of maturity. But in later years, the wandering Sagittarius fool becomes the sage others turn to for worldly wisdom or admire and envy because of their adventurous life. Mars retrograde in Gemini, squaring Jupiter and Neptune, both retrograde, can tempt you with a past path or remind you of a painful lesson already learned. Consider carefully before going backwards. Will it be better, or will history repeat? Pluto in earthy Capricorn is tethering and tempering the yearning of the Pisces water and the eager entrepreneurial Sagittarius fire, condensing them into something both attainable and profitable, while Mars trine to Saturn reminds you that daily action builds future success. Things begun now may take time to reach fruition, but if you put your enthusiasm and anticipation into it on a consistent basis, expect a good outcome. Enjoy your journey and befriend people you meet on the way. So let's take a look at the chart and see what we have going on. It's actually relatively quiet right now compared to what we've been through in the last few weeks, where we had a fixed t-square dominating, and then it was replaced by a mutable t-square, and now there's no t-square, which is lovely, to be free of the tension that a t-square produces. And we still have a couple of squares going on. Most notably is this Mars square to Jupiter and Neptune, and they are all retrograde. Do be careful in your travels, because even though Mars is not Mercury, and Mercury rules speech and communication, Mars is a planet of action and physicality, and it can rule things like mechanical things, particularly combustion engines, cars, and it's in the sign of Gemini, and Gemini is ruled by Mercury. So we have those mercurial overtones here to Mars, a planet of physicality and motion, basically, and that's squaring Jupiter and Neptune conjunct in Pisces. And this is the energy of potentially disappointment, loss, not being prepared in advance, not thinking things through before heading out on your grand adventures. It can also be poor judgment when it comes to things like partying. Do be careful with excess in substances during the holidays, because the police are going to be out there. They will be at the speed traps. They will be checking for drunk driving, and your judgment as to whether you are impaired or not is potentially faulty because of this square. So do take your time to arrive at your destinations, and it is better to be late than to not show up at all, or, to suffer any serious accident or injury. That's the main cautionary thing going on right here in terms of where we're at right now, going into a holiday weekend where people are visiting friends and family, they're out shopping and doing a lot of traveling right now. On the emotional level or spiritual level, because Jupiter and Neptune do have strong spiritual influence, particularly while they're in Pisces. And Jupiter is the ancient ruler of Pisces, and Neptune is the more modern ruler. So the combination of these two together adds extra oomph to the Piscean spirituality, intuition, yearning, the desire for more and bigger and better, or for something to be perfect or to reach your ideal is very strong. And the moon and the sun, they're just coming out of a Scorpio transit where the tail end of Scorpio was making a strong trine to the tail end of Pisces. They are still, even though we now have the fire of everything here in Sagittarius, moon, sun, Venus, and Mercury, they're still in a trine by degrees. So we are finding that the action is coming into play, the desire or the impulse to basically leap before looking is very strong, literally like the blind faith. Whereas Scorpio energy was much more cautious and seeks to protect and preserve boundaries. Sagittarius is expansive. It's all over the place. It's enthusiastic. It's very sharing, generous, giving. Hey, everybody, let's go play. And yet, there's a little bit of uh-oh in that square, as well as a little bit of what if, what if I don't want to change? Or what if whatever I'm doing or trying to do isn't going to work out and won't actually become real or make me money? What if I go into something now and I lose money? Um, Hold on to your enthusiasm. It is being supported by Pluto in Capricorn, which is very success oriented, and Pluto rules Scorpio and the eighth house, which is where we look at business money and investments and long-term money. So Pluto in Capricorn can help you take that Jupiter and Neptune conjunction in Pisces, where you may be a little bit pie in the sky and maybe are not seeing things clearly, and take the enthusiasm and team spirit and hope for the future that we have in Sagittarius and actually direct it through willpower, determination, and sheer effort to basically show up and do the thing. That's what the trine between Saturn and Mars is saying. Like, the only way to ensure a profitable and successful outcome for the future is to persistently do the work. Everything that you do now lays down the foundations and moves you forward bit by bit. So overnight success, yeah, maybe for some people, but not for everybody. And it would also potentially just be that 15 minutes of fame, flash in the pan, not necessarily enduring if it doesn't have some of that um, repeated work behind it. And some of that is also, I think, recognition to show up in the same place or in front of the same audience and be seen so that you become popular. These two air signs that we have going on, Gemini is very communal, and Aquarius energy is very society and fame oriented, future oriented, the larger group or organization. And Gemini energy is very brotherly, sisterly, neighborly, to literally go from being acquaintance to being part of a group or an organization or being a steadier friend. is some of what that aspect can indicate as well. And Sagittarius can be great for making friends. Um, take some of that friend making energy and make note of the person's name and what they do. You know, write it down, remember it. That might be somebody that you have need of in the future, whether they're going to be helping you with something or you're helping them, or their future clients or customers. Um, don't just be that little skipping stone over the top of the water right now. Look for that longer range goal. Definitely enjoy the enthusiasm of Sagittarius and allow yourself to be fired up, but follow through with the work of things. And the squares, well, everybody's been under this Saturn Uranus square for quite a while, and it's making for a lot of instability in society as a whole and in your own personal life. Without me being able to see your natal chart and knowing where Saturn and Uranus are transiting, I can't tell you how it would be affecting you individually, but the times are changing, most definitely. And people want to move toward the future, but they're also scared about it. And not knowing what the future will bring is some of that scariness, especially when it comes to resources, because Taurus rules the second house of personal finances and the resources. And that's where the change sits. And the North Node is there, which adds that extra weight of fate, destiny, karma, the lessons learned. And if we do slide backward right now and don't move forward as a society, we're actually, I personally feel, making a mistake. But um, there's always opportunity for change, or sometimes change becomes a necessity and it's forced. And that's what a square aspect can do, is put the pressure on to force something to happen. And there will be some of that discomfort of the letting go, or maybe having to realize that it might not be exactly perfect the way you want it, but it might be enough. It might be good enough. It might actually be something better than you can envision right now if you do the work and move ahead and utilize your imagination, your faith, and your persistence and determination to get there. So I like the chart very much, and it's a lovely new moon, and we'll see what happens with the Gemini full moon that will arrive in 2 weeks to see how far you've come along. That will be, I believe, conjunct Mars, and Mars is retrograding until January the 12th. So as we get up to the full moon, you will be getting a little bit anxious, but looking forward to taking something further and preparing for Mars to come out of retrograde on January 12th. Once it does, it's like somebody taking the foot off the brake pedal and hitting the gas pedal, and things should pick up. But that doesn't mean don't do things between now and then. Just know that you may have to go over some of those things and try again, and maybe revisit, reevaluate right before we have Mars go direct. We will also have both Jupiter and Neptune coming out of retrograde soon. In fact, I think, let me get my book. I think we are actually looking at one of them coming out of retrograde just about now. Yeah, actually, we have Jupiter going direct today. And then we were going to have Neptune coming out of its retrograde on the 4th of December. So those two slow movers, which are very benevolent planets, will also bring greater flow as we go into the first week of December and that full moon coming on December 8th. So look forward to that and make your plans, start your new stuff, Know that it may take a little bit of time to get the traction, but that you should persist a little bit every day. Even 15 minutes of doing something is better than no minutes of doing something. Let's take a look at the Sabian symbol, and it's 2 degrees of Sagittarius because we round up from 1 degree 38 minutes. White-capped waves display the power of wind over sea. Keynote the mobilization of unconscious energies under the pressure of superpersonal motives. Wind and sea are in constant interplay, and the results of that interplay are inspiring and beautiful. In symbolism, the wind, pneuma in the early Greek word for spirit, is associated with spiritual dynamism, the stirring of deep energies. This dynamism obeys cosmic or superpersonal rhythms, the power of which is irresistible. At this second stage of the 49th fivefold sequence, we have a picture which contrasts the powerful but beautiful storms of nature with the often gory and hysterical crises of a civilization which progresses through war. I think this is reflecting back to the previous symbol because the symbols tend to follow each other, and that did mention retired Army veterans going over old memories. And then we get 2 men playing chess as the following, where there is conflict within the interplay in that 3rd degree. And of course, right before the moon is new, we hit that 1st degree, then we have that new moon at the 2nd, and then the moon continues to move quickly and moves on. So it is the moment that we're looking at, though, that the new moon, is exact. And we have this symbol with the white capped waves displaying the power. Well, that's literally an outpicturing of the power of natural forces. When you see the whitecaps whipping up the water, you know that the wind is very powerful and that it's something that the water cannot fight against or can't resist. And that feels very Plutonian because Pluto is the planet of power. So we do have the energy right now of a Mars and Saturn trine, which are very material, physical, work-oriented planets in air at the moment. We've got water with the Pisces energy. We have the fire of Sagittarius, and then we have the earth of Pluto in Capricorn that is really grounding everything, or I feel like that has more influence at the moment than the moon itself. It's literally pulling the energy of the Sagittarius and the Pisces planets to achieve something or to stay focused and to persist. It's the power behind that Sagittarius new moon actually getting up off the ground and beginning something and moving toward that future success. So the picture presented speaks of a subtilization through rhythmic intensity. That's what I feel the chart is telling us today, is that we have to do something over and over and over again and persist in order to perfect it. That it is the practice that makes something perfect. It's the repeated showing up, the repeated reaching out to your clients, or the repeated practice of whatever you're attempting to master that is going to make you successful. All right, that's it for the forecast for this new moon. Everybody be safe. Have a happy and blessed holiday if you are celebrating. And be patient on the road, please. And definitely, if you're going to be drinking, let somebody else drive. Call Uber or stay at home. Take care. Talk to you soon.